Mental health is a huge issue in Oregon and Southwest Washington. You email and call us about it all the time, and we love it. Keep them coming. It's an even bigger thing, though, when we start talking about people who have mental health challenges and who have committed crimes. And that's why this group of 23 is so unique. They have been charged with crimes, 11 with felonies, 12 with misdemeanors. But they were found unable to help in their own defense because of their mental health. That's called aid and assist. Over the past few years, there's been such a surge of aid and assist people sent to the state hospital that the place really is just jammed. And now there are other people, aid and assist actually, waiting to get in there. And they're sitting in jails waiting to get into the hospital that's already full. Not enough people are leaving, so the wait time is getting longer and longer and longer. This chart from the Oregon Health Authority shows the numbers. That black line, that represents the number of days a patient in jail has to wait to get into the state hospital. A court has ordered that it should be 7 days or less. But when the chart was made in July, there on the right, that's closer to 40 days. Here's a look at the overall state hospital numbers. Remember, we're talking only about the state mental hospital. On the far left is January 2000. On the far right is January 2022. The black line on the top shows the total population of patients at the hospital. Sometimes it's been as high as 800 people. Earlier this year, it was closer to 700. The blue line there shows the number of people who are there for aid and assist. There were less than 100 way back in 2000. Now it's more like 400. And look at the gray line there. Those are the people sent to the hospital on civil commitments. They have not been charged with a crime. They've not committed a crime. They just need psychiatric help in a secure setting. That used to be nearly 400 people. That's the line there on the left. Now it's almost zero. State leaders, including Oregon Health Authority Director Patrick Allen, have definitely noticed.
And those numbers have changed drastically, particularly driven by the aid and assist population increasing to about 400 patients. And the result of all of that change has really been to crowd out civil patients. There are just a handful now of civilly committed patients who are in the hospital, which you all working with behavioral health issues in your communities know.
So yes, even those of us not working with behavioral health issues, those of us driving around our communities have seen it. That's one big reason why so many folks with mental health issues seem to be on the streets in Portland and elsewhere. Earlier this month, I found out about this video conference that focused on the state hospital and the new rules. They called it a virtual town hall. It was, I think, kind of intended for insiders, but it was actually public, so I jumped in. I listened as a leader for Metro Public Defenders, Jesse Merrithew, talked about why they asked a federal judge to order the state hospital to begin releasing aid and assist patients.
We're facing a sort of intractable problem in having more people going into the hospital than are coming out. And we, representing the plaintiffs, believe that something needed to be done about that, because the effect was that not only are they not now complying with the underlying Mink injunction, but there wasn't any hope of compliance in the near term.
So that Mink injunction gives us a clue. This fight has been going on for 20 years, it turns out. Way back in 2002, folks like Disability Rights Oregon sued the state over this very exact same problem. It was taking way too long for people with mental health issues who were facing criminal charges to get into the hospital, and instead they had to wait in jail cells, which is not great. The court agreed. The state appealed, and they lost. Disability Rights Oregon tells me the state was doing great at managing the population at the hospital from the time they lost the case until just before COVID, and that it's been kind of a problem ever since COVID, though. Okay, back to the video conference. There were hundreds of people from all over Oregon tuned in because this is a big deal. Those 23 folks who are going to be released, they are just the first batch. OHA has estimated publicly that the total will be more like 100 released, but when I added the numbers shown on one of the charts in their presentations, it's over 200. So the number must be, let's just say, fluid. Groups will be released each month all the way through December of 2023, which had some people on the call, like Deanne Carr from Deschutes County, asking a tough question, and Patrick Allen giving his answer.
To really get down to brass tacks, is the Oregon State Hospital going to discharge individuals to the street?
I think the most straightforward thing I can say is that we intend to comply with Judge Mossman's order to the Court of Jurisdiction at the time that the time limit expires.
So that's not exactly a clear yes on whether patients will be discharged to the streets, but it's certainly not a no. Here's the new timeline for aid and assist patients issued by the federal judge. Those charged with a misdemeanor will only be treated now for 90 days and then released. Non-Measure 11 felonies, so those are not violent, they can be treated for up to 6 months. People charged with violent felonies under Measure 11 will be treated for only a year. Now, that timeline had many on the video call really concerned. Where are those people going to go when they're released? Where will they be released to? One of those who is concerned is Judge Nan Waller. She spent the last 30 years trying to make the intersection of mental health and criminal justice a better experience for all sides. She's also the presiding judge in Multnomah County. Here's part of what she had to say at that conference.
And I've talked to, CARE Oregon, I've talked to you, I've talked to the counties that we will be in the same position. This is not a crowd. The justice-involved population with behavioral health issues is not a crowd that a lot of people are jumping up and down and saying, we will take them. And I worry that we will be in the same position, except that people are going to end up on the streets, which I think under some circumstances, that may be the only option that is available, and it may not be something that creates difficulties. But in some circumstances, it will. And I think that just like the justice system has a responsibility to community safety, I know that you agree that so does the behavioral health system.
So that is a lot, but we wanted to give you a deep dive into what's happening at the state hospital. It affects your local jail and people who have serious mental health issues and are charged with crimes. It also affects those who have big mental health issues but have not been charged with a crime. And I think really one way or another it likely touches each of us. We have a lot more on this. In fact, it was too much to put into this story tonight. Tomorrow night, we're going to hear from the Washington County District Attorney, Kevin Barton, who's very concerned about this upcoming release. And on the other side, we'll talk with Emily Cooper, the legal director for Disability Rights Oregon. She has some pretty strong arguments about why the releases from the state hospital make sense for everyone. So you're going to want to tune in tomorrow. In the meantime, if you want to share your opinions, let them fly. Our email is thestory@kgw.com. You can also call and leave a voicemail. Our number is 503-226-5090.